I want to talk to those of you who have lost your job recently, or maybe your work has been put on hold. You've been put on leave because of COVID-19 and you've been unable to work and earn a living right now. You're stuck at home. Maybe you're looking for work, or maybe you just recently graduated from college, or you're graduating from college this year and you've been unable to find work and you're worried and you're stressed. And I sympathize with you. I understand. And I want you to take a minute and consider whether this might be one of the greatest opportunities you've ever had in your life. This may be an opportunity for you to shake up your own preconceived beliefs about what you should be doing and about the way to earn money. You may think that the way to earn money and the most secure way to earn money is to find a stable job where you work for somebody else and they pay you a weekly paycheck and you make that money constantly. And I'm going to challenge you to think that there may be a better way, that this version of the American dream, where you go to work every single day for 52 weeks of the year, maybe you take a couple weeks off for vacation, but you go 5 days a week, all year long, working for somebody else, giving your time, selling your time to your boss. They pay you a little bit, but they make more money off of you than what you make, obviously, because they have to pay you and then they have to pay for their other expenses and they have to keep some for themselves. So you are working and only receiving some portion of the value that you are producing and putting into your company. And your boss, the man or the woman, you're working for the man, you're working for the woman, you're making money for them, which is great for them. And it's part of the standard American dream to have this solid, stable job. And then you take that paycheck that you receive, that's, again, only part of the value you're actually producing because of your talents and your ability and your education and your experience. And that paycheck you bring home, you split up and you put some of it into a good chunk of it into your housing, your rent, or your mortgage. Once again, you're giving money to the landlord, making them money, or you're giving money to the bank, because when you're paying a mortgage, a huge chunk of that is just interest. You're not actually earning your house. And so this is the American dream. The standard American dream is this idea that I have a solid job and I have a home that I have bought. And that's a big part of what it means to have an American dream. Maybe you also have a nice car and maybe you're making monthly payments on that nice car. Well, I invite you to consider that that American dream might not be working for you and for many of us, and that it might not be the best way to pursue your own dream and to create your own life. Once again, what you're doing is you're giving your time and selling your time to someone else. You're working for them and you're making money for them. And then you're taking home that check and you're giving a big chunk of that check to your landlord or to your bank, and you're making money for them. There might be a better way so you can make money for yourself. So what's this better way that I'm talking about? What is better than this standard American dream? In order to answer that, I would like to actually borrow straight from a blog post that I read once a decade ago. That's fantastic. I hope that the writer of the blog who shares this information online won't mind that I share it with you. If they do, please reach out to me and I will take it down. But I'm trying to spread this information to you, whoever's watching this, especially to those students that I care so much about, that I help with my business college tax refunds. I want you guys to know that this might be a great opportunity and a great time for you to try something different. So I'd like to share now that information from that blog post. This is 10 Reasons You Should Never Get a Job by Steve Pavlina at stevepavlina.com. This was written again 14 years ago, but it applies fantastically today, especially in this world where it's hard for us to get a job or maintain one. You may not need one. Let me read to you. So just for fun, Steve says, I recently asked Erin, his wife, now that the kids are in summer school, don't you think it's about time you went out and got yourself a job? I hate seeing you wallow in unemployment for so long. She smiled and said, wow, I have been unemployed a really long time. That's weird. I like it. Neither of us have had jobs since the 90s. My only job was in 1992. So we've been self-employed for quite a while. In our household, it's a running joke for one of us to say to the other, maybe you should get a job, derelict. It's like the scene in The Three Stooges where Moe tells Curly to get a job and Curly backs away saying, no, please, not that, anything but that. It's funny that when people reach a certain age, such as after graduating college, they assume it's time to go out and get a job. But like many things the masses do, just because everyone does it doesn't mean it's a good idea. In fact, if you're reasonably intelligent, getting a job is one of the worst things you can do to support yourself. There are far better ways to make a living than selling yourself into indentured servitude. Here are some reasons you should do everything in your power to avoid getting a job. And I want to pause right there and mention that that's what I was describing when I was talking about you going to work every single day, selling your time, making money for the man, and then bringing it home and giving money to the bank or your landlord. This is indentured servitude. You're selling your time 8 hours a day or more to other people. You're making money for the bank. You're making money for your boss. And how long are you going to do this? For your entire career. 30 years or so. And that's your dream. That's the American dream, is I'm going to work for somebody else, make money for them, make them rich, make the bank rich. And I'm just going to sell my time. And this is indentured servitude. And you've got to do this for 30 years. Why? Because if you quit, you're going to lose your home. And if you quit, you're not going to have any money. You're not going to be able to feed your family. This is indentured servitude. And that's what he's talking about. So that may not be the best way to go. So let's talk about income for dummies. Getting a job and trading your time for money may seem like a good idea. There's only one problem with it. It's stupid. It's the stupidest way you can possibly generate income. This is truly income for dummies. Why is getting a job so dumb? Because you only get paid when you're working. Don't you see a problem with that? Or have you been so thoroughly brainwashed into thinking it's reasonable, intelligent to only earn income when you're working? Have you never considered that it might be better to be paid even when you're not working? Who taught you that you could only earn income while you're working? Some other brainwashed employee, perhaps. Don't you think that your life would be much easier if you got paid while you were eating, sleeping, and playing with the kids too? Why not get paid 24/7? Get paid whether you work or not. Don't your plants grow even when you aren't tending to them? Why not your bank account? Who cares how many hours you work? Only a handful of people on this entire planet care how much time you spend at the office. Most of us won't even notice whether you work 6 hours a week or 60. But if you have something of value to provide that matters to us, a number of us will be happy to pull out our wallets and pay you for it. We don't care about your time. We only care enough to pay for the value that we receive. Do you really care how long it took me to write this article? Would you pay me twice as much if it took me 6 hours versus only 3? Non-dummies often start out on the traditional income for dummies path. Non-dummies, meaning all of us, okay? We all start on that path. So don't feel bad if you're just now realizing that you've been suckered. Non-dummies eventually realize that trading time for money is indeed extremely dumb and that there must be a better way. And of course, there is a better way. The key is to decouple your value from your time. Smart people build systems that generate income 24/7, especially passive income. This can include starting a business, building a website, becoming an investor, or generating royalty income from creative work. The system delivers the ongoing value to people and generates income from the value. And once it's in motion, it runs continuously, whether you tend to it or not. From that moment on, the bulk of your time can be invested in increasing your income by refining your system or spawning new systems instead of merely maintaining your income. This website is an example of such a system. At the time of this writing, that was 14 years ago, it generates about $9,000 a month in income for me. Update, $40,000 a month as of 10/31/06. Holy cow, that was 6 months later. And it isn't my only income stream either. I write each article just once, a fixed time investment, and people can extract value from them, the articles, year after year. The web server delivers the value, and other systems, most of which I didn't even build and I don't even understand, collect income and deposit it automatically into my bank account. It's not perfectly passive, but I love writing and I would do it for free anyway. But of course, it cost me a lot of money to launch this business, right? Yeah. $9 is an awful lot these days to register the domain name, and it's more like 12 today if you do it through Google Domains. Everything after that was profit. Sure, it takes some time up front, an effort to design and implement your own income-generating systems, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Feel free to use existing systems, like ad networks and affiliate programs. Once you get going, you won't have to work so many hours to support yourself. Wouldn't it be nice to be out having dinner with your spouse, knowing that while you're eating, you're earning money? If you want to keep working long hours because you enjoy it, go right ahead. If you want to sit around and do nothing, feel free. As long as your system continues delivering value to others, you'll keep getting paid whether you're working or not. Your local bookstore is filled with books containing workable systems others have already designed, tested, and debugged. Nobody is born knowing how to start a business or to generate investment income, but you can easily learn it, just like everybody else did. How long it takes you to figure it out is irrelevant because the time is going to pass anyway. You might as well emerge at some future point as the owner of an income-generating system as opposed to a lifelong wage slave. This isn't all or nothing. If your system only generates a few $100s a month, that's a significant step in the right direction. I want to talk about this for just a second. So I've already said, and the article mentioned, that selling your time for money is a stupid way to try to make money. And the reason for that is because you just don't have enough time to become rich. You don't have enough time to sell. We all have exactly the same amount of time. And as we try to sell it, we realize that people are only willing to sell us or to buy from us our time at a certain rate. And if you multiply the number of hours you've got times that rate, the number of hours you can actually stay awake and work and function effectively as a worker, and multiply it times the rate that you are able to get paid, you cannot get rich on that. However, you can get rich if you're creating value and selling it passively, as they already mentioned, through royalties, through things that you write, and through things that you create that you only have to create once, and then that brings in money, or through rental income or anything like that, or if you're selling things or drop selling things online. The point is, when you establish a system that creates passive income, then again, that money's coming in, and now you can create another system that creates passive income. And then when that one's coming in, you can create another system that creates passive income. So if your first system only brings in $100 a day, $100 a week even, that's one little system that you've built that's bringing in a stream of passive income. Now go build another system, and then build another one. Tim Ferriss talks about this in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. So if you'd like more information, you can also look into that book. The point here, as he mentioned in the article that I was just reading, is that the time is going to pass while you're at home with COVID-19 anyway. The time is going to pass where you don't have a job right now and you're having a hard time finding a job anyway. Why spend it looking for a way to enslave yourself to somebody else and to make money for them? This time is going to pass, so take some time right now and learn how to start a business. Learn how to start a passive income stream. Learn to do real estate. Learn to do online business and blogging or whatever else, because this time is going to pass, so use it right now to create a passive income stream. Limited experience is the second reason that you should never get a job. You might think it's important to get a job to gain experience, but that's like saying that you should play golf to get experience playing golf. You gain experience from living, regardless of whether you have a job or not. A job only gives you experience at that job, but you gain experience doing just about anything. So that's no real benefit at all. Sit around doing nothing for a couple of years and you can call yourself an experienced meditator, philosopher, or politician. The problem with getting experience from a job is that you usually just repeat the same limited experience over and over. You learn a lot in the beginning and then you stagnate. This forces you to miss other experiences that would be much more valuable. And if your limited skill set ever becomes obsolete, then your experience won't be worth squat. In fact, ask yourself what the experience you're gaining right now will be worth in 20 to 30 years. Will your job even exist then? Consider this. Which experience would you rather gain? The knowledge of how to do a specific job really well, one that you can only monetize by trading your time for money, or the knowledge of how to enjoy financial abundance for the rest of your life without ever needing a job again? Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather have the latter experience. That seems a lot more useful in the real world, wouldn't you say? And I would add to that, that when you don't have a job for someone else and you've decided, as I did several years ago, that you're never going to work for someone else again, that you're only going to be working for yourself from now on and making money for yourself, not for the man, and you're going to own your own properties, you're going to own several rental properties, as I explained in another video, where you can buy one rental property and then create and buy another rental property in a couple of years and another multifamily rental property in a couple of years. And after about 10 years of doing this, you really have passive income coming in from your rental properties that totally covers your own living expenses. And so basically you can retire. You have enough passive income to cover all of your living expenses. You don't have to work to cover your living expenses. Now you can do whatever you want. My point is, once you've decided that you're not going to work for anybody else, that you are instead going to just work for yourself and make money for yourself, you don't even care about the experience that you're getting from some job anymore. You're not going to have another resume building experience. In fact, you're probably never going to create another resume again. You know how to create streams of income that flow to you, and you don't have to work for somebody else. Number 3, lifelong domestication. Getting a job is like enrolling in a human domestication program. You learn how to be a good pet. Look around you. Really look. What do you see? Are these surroundings the surroundings of free human beings? Or are you living in a cage for unconscious animals? Have you fallen in love with the color beige? How's your obedience training coming along? Does your master reward your good behavior? Do you get disciplined if you fail to obey your master's commands? Is there any spark of free will left inside you? Or has your conditioning made you a pet for life? Humans are not meant to be raised in cages or in cubicles. You poor thing. Number 4, too many mouths to feed. Employee income is the most heavily taxed there is. In the USA, you can expect that about half your salary will go to taxes. That's with your unemployment taxes, your Social Security, Medicare, your taxes for your state and the federal government. The tax system is designed to disguise how much you're really giving up, because some of those taxes are paid by your employer. That was what I mentioned a second ago. Your unemployment taxes, your employer pays half your Medicare and Social Security. And that's actually your money that the employer would be giving you, but they have to give it to the government. And some of your taxes are deducted from your paycheck before you even see the money. So some of you may not even notice that that's really disappearing. But you can bet that from your employer's perspective, all of those taxes are considered part of your pay, as well as any other compensation that you receive, such as benefits. Even the rent for the office space you consume is considered as a cost of employing you. And so you must generate that much more income or that much more value for your boss to cover it. You might feel supported by your corporate environment, but keep in mind that you are the one paying for it. Another chunk of your income goes to owners and investors. That's a lot of mouths to feed. Isn't it hard to understand? It isn't hard to understand why employees pay the most in taxes relative to their income. After all, who has more control over the tax system? Business owners and investors or the employees? You only get paid a fraction of the real value you generate. Your real salary may be more than triple what you are paid, as in the value you're making may be more than triple what you're getting paid, but most of that money you will never see. It goes straight into other people's pockets. What a generous person you are for making all that money for other people. Number 5, way too risky to stay employed and to have a secure job. Many employees believe getting a job is the safest and most secure way to support themselves. Morons. Social conditioning is amazing. It's so good it can even make people believe the exact opposite of the truth. Does putting yourself into a position where someone else can turn off all your income just by saying 2 words, you're fired, or a couple words like, I'm letting you go, I have to let you go, because of COVID-19, you need to take voluntary time off, you need to take a leave, and your employer, somebody else, can totally turn off your entire family income by just saying a few words, one person. Does that sound like a safe and a secure situation to you? But that's what's happening to millions of people around the country right now. Does having only one income stream honestly sound more secure than having 10? The idea that a job is the most secure way to generate income is just silly. You can't even have security if you don't have control. And employees have the least control of anyone. If you are an employee, then your real job title should be professional gambler. Number 6, having an evil bovine master. When you run into an idiot in the entrepreneurial world, you can turn around and head the other way. So if I, as my own boss, run into some idiot, I can just ignore him and walk away. But when you run into an idiot in the corporate world, you have to turn around and say, sorry, boss. Did you know that the word boss comes from the Dutch word baas, which historically means master? Another meaning of the word boss is a cow or a bovine. And in many video games, the boss is the evil dude that you have to kill at the end of a level. So if your boss is really your evil bovine master, then what does that make you? Nothing but a turd in the herd. Who's your daddy? Number 7, begging for money. When you want to increase your income, do you have to sit up and beg your master for more money? Like a dog? Does it feel good to be thrown some extra Scooby snacks now and then? Like, I need a little bonus this year. Or are you free to decide how much you get paid without needing anyone's permission but your own? You can decide to work a little bit more, create another income stream. Or if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. If you want to create some way that you want to travel the world like I do, you can go and find another way to create that travel and that wonderful experience. You get to choose what you're going to spend your time on. You get to focus on you and building your own income streams, and you don't have to beg anybody else. If you have a business and one consumer says no to you, well, you just simply say, next, please. Number 8, an inbred social life. Many people treat their jobs as their primary social outlet. They hang out with the same people working in the same field. Such incestuous relationships are social dead ends. An exciting day includes deep conversations about the company's switch from Sparklets to Arrowhead, the delay of Microsoft's latest operating system, and the unexpected delivery of more Bic pens. Consider what it would be like to go outside and to talk to strangers. Ooh, scary. Better stay safe inside where it's safe. If one of your co-slaves gets sold to another master, do you lose a friend? If you work in a male-dominated field, does that mean that you never get to talk to women above the rank of receptionist? Why not decide for yourself whom to socialize with instead of letting your master decide for you by picking your friends and your coworkers? Believe it or not, there are locations on this planet where free people congregate. Just be wary of those jobless folk. They're a scary bunch. The jobless, self-employed ones here. Number 9, loss of freedom when you have a job. It takes a lot of effort to tame a human being into an employee. The first thing you have to do is break the human's independent will. A good way to do this is to give them a weighty policy manual filled with nonsensical rules and regulations. This leads the new employee to become more obedient, fearing that they could be disciplined at any minute for something incomprehensible. Thus, the employee will likely conclude it is safest to simply obey the master's commands without question. Stir in some office politics for good measure, and we've got a freshly minted mind slave. I have worked in environments that are like that. I've loved my jobs, but I also know that I had to toe the party line. I had to do what the boss said and follow the policy manual, and I couldn't step out of line. Now that I'm the boss, I get to make the policy manual. I get to do what I want to do. As part of their obedience training, employees must be taught how to dress. You ever had a dress code at your work? How to talk, how to move, and so on. We can't very well have employees thinking for themselves now, can we? That would ruin everything. God forbid that you should put a plant on your desk when it's against the company policy. Oh no, it's the end of the world. Cindy has a plant on her desk. Summon the enforcers. Send Cindy back for another round of sterility training, or whatever else you might encroach upon the company policies. Free human beings think such rules and regulations are silly, of course. The only policy they need is be smart, be nice, do what you love, have fun. Number 10, becoming a coward. Have you noticed that employed people have an almost endless capacity to whine about problems at their companies? Oh, I hear this all the time from employees at companies where I've worked, whining about their bosses and complaining about the way the company is set up. But they don't really want solutions. They just want to vent and make excuses for why it's all someone else's fault. It's as if getting a job somehow drains all the free will out of people and turns them into spineless cowards. If you can't call your boss a jerk now and then without the fear of getting fired, you are no longer free. You've become your master's property. And I would add that if you have a stream of passive income, several streams of passive income, rental properties bringing in money such that it covers all of your living expenses, and you choose to go work for someone else because you absolutely love that job. For example, you choose to go teach at a university because it's so fun to work with students and to teach them things that you already know and to help them develop their own skills and education so that they too can start businesses. If you choose to go work for somebody else, but you have the passive income supporting you and covering all your expenses, then you have what I like to call a go to hell fund, which means that you can call your boss a jerk. You can tell them if they ask you to do something that you don't like or that you don't want to do, or they tell you that they're going to change things up and they're going to reduce your pay, or they're going to increase the amount of things that you need to do on a daily basis, or they're going to try to make you do something that you consider to be immoral. You can look at them and you say, you go to hell. You know what? I've got passive income. I'm leaving. I'm only here because it's fun. I'm only here because I want to be. And you can only do that if you have passive income streams set up to cover your living expenses. When you work around cowards all day long, don't you think it's going to rub off on you? Of course it will. It's only a matter of time before you sacrifice the noblest parts of your humanity on the altar of fear. First courage, then honesty, then honor and integrity, and finally your independent will. You sold your humanity for nothing but an illusion, and that American dream I was talking about where you're working for somebody else as that slave here, and now your greatest fear is discovering the truth of what you've become. I don't care how badly you've been beaten down, it is never too late to regain your courage. Never. So you still want a job? If you're currently a well-conditioned, well-behaved employee, your most likely reaction to the above will be defensiveness. It's all a part of the conditioning. But consider, now again, I'm inviting all you people who are right now struggling to find work, who've maybe lost your jobs. This might be the perfect opportunity for you to figure out how to build your passive income streams because you've got this time on your hands. You can do it. You can use your own creativity to come up with ways to bring in income, to create value. Whatever value, whatever talents you have, whatever you are able to contribute and help people, that is worth money. Now, consider that if the above did not have a grain of truth to it, then you wouldn't even have an emotional reaction to it at all. You wouldn't feel like you need to defend it. You'd just laugh and say, this is all stupid. This is only a reminder of what you already know. You can deny your cage all you want, but the cage is still there. Perhaps this all happened so gradually you never even noticed it until now, like a lobster enjoying a nice warm bath. If any of this makes you mad, that's a step in the right direction. Anger is a higher level of consciousness than apathy, so it's a lot better than being numb all the time. Any emotion, even confusion, is better than apathy. If you work through your feelings instead of repressing them, you'll soon emerge on the doorstep of courage. And when that happens, you'll have the will to actually do something about your situation and start living like the powerful human being you were meant to be instead of the domesticated pet that you've been trained to be. So, happily jobless. What's the alternative to getting a job? The alternative is to remain happily jobless for life and to generate income through other means. Realize that you earn income by providing value, not providing your time. So find a way to provide your best value to others and charge a fair price for it. One of the simplest and most accessible ways is to start your own business. Whatever work you'd otherwise do via employment, find a way to provide that same value directly to those who will benefit the most from it. It takes a bit more time to get going, but your freedom is easily worth the initial investment of time and energy. And again, if you don't have another job right now anyway, just find a way to take those skills and talents that you have, go online, find some people who are looking for those skills and talents, not to buy your time full time, but that you can sell that value to them for 3 times what you were making as an employee per hour, because you don't have all that extra overhead and you're not trying to pay your boss. You can take whatever skill or talent you have and sell it and sell that value to somebody else. Then you can buy your own Scooby snacks for a change. And of course, everything you learn along the way, you can share with others to generate even more value. So once you've figured out that passive stream, go share it. So even your mistakes can be monetized. And then this Steve Pavlina on his blog gives you some free resources to help you get started. I'm not sure how many of these links work, but there are some and there are more. You can do lots of Google searches and YouTube searches for how to start your own job. You can also go find coaches. You can reach out to me. You can contact me through the comments down below. Write your questions, write your comments, write other things you'd like me to talk about, or reach out to me at collegetaxrefunds.com. I would love to help you. I would love to start a little bit of coaching with you to help you be on the right path to starting your own business. I'd love to refer you to the coaches that I've used. There are resources to help you get started. One of the greatest fears you'll confront is that you may not have any real value to offer to others. Maybe being an employee and getting paid by the hour is the best you can do. Maybe you just aren't worth that much. That line of thinking is all just a part of your conditioning. It is absolute nonsense. As you begin to dump such brainwashing, you will soon recognize that you have the ability to provide enormous value to others and that people will gladly pay you for it. There's only one thing that prevents you from seeing this truth: fear. All you really need is the courage to be yourself. Your real value is rooted in who you are, not what you do. The only thing you need actually to do is express your real self to the world. You've been told all sorts of lies as to why you can't do that, but you'll never know true happiness and fulfillment until you summon the courage to do it anyway. The next time someone says to you, "Get a job," I suggest you reply as Curly did. "No, please, not that, anything but that," and then poke him right in the eyes. You already know deep down that getting a job isn't what you want. So don't let anyone try to tell you otherwise. Learn to trust your inner wisdom, even if the whole world says you are wrong and foolish for doing so. Years from now, you'll look back and realize it was one of the best decisions you ever made. And final thoughts from Mr. Pavlina. While I wouldn't recommend starting an online business for everyone, for many people, it's one of the best ways to generate income without a job. It has certainly worked disgustingly well for me. If you are interested in learning more about this option, please see this page for details, and he has another link. I want you to know that it's been one of the best things I've ever done too. I have worked for great companies. I've enjoyed the work I've done for bosses. I've enjoyed my bosses. I have also enjoyed the work I did at universities, teaching college students about tax and about accounting, and also teaching them about how to start their own business and how to not get stuck in this false American dream where you are working around the clock to put money into your boss's pocket and to put money into your bank's pocket. I do believe that you too can find other streams of income and create value for other people. And if you're not sure how, here's something I recommend. For the next month, commit yourself every single day when you're in the shower or for 10 minutes in some other time, but it's only 10 minutes a day. Go on a walk for 10 minutes a day, just 10 minutes a day. Just start asking yourself over and over this question: how can I create even more value today for the people around me using my talents and energy? You can change that question, but let me say it again. How can I create even more value for the people around me today using my energy and talents? Change it up. Make the question resonate with you, something that truly excites you, but ask yourself that over and over while you're walking, while you're showering, while you're in the morning. How can I create even more value? How can I create even more value for the people around me? How can I create even more value for the people around me using my talents and energy? My talents and energy. How can I create even more value for the people around me? And ask yourself that over and over and over. And then after you've done that for about 5, 6, 7 minutes, take the last 3 minutes of those 10 minutes and just listen for a response and write down the first thing and the second thing and the third thing that come to your mind. And don't argue with it. Just write it down. Oh, this is one way. Oh, I could do this and I could do this. And then look at those 3 things and say, now, which one of those 3 things truly excites you, truly energizes you? For you should follow that bit of intuition. You should do that one thing that truly excites you and energizes you that day, the way that you can create more value for the people around you. Follow that intuition. If you do that every single day, you are going to strike upon many ways that you can create value and you can bring money into your life. That is exactly how I created College Tax Refunds and some of the other businesses that I operate. I invite you to try the same thing. Ask yourself what value you can provide and get excited about the answers and intuition you receive. Let me know if you have any questions, write them in the comments, and please reach out to me at collegetaxrefunds.com.